Hi friends, Namaste. Welcome to Homemaking 101. Nothing is more satisfactory for a mom than her kids finish off their meals. So today's video is all about kids. I will be sharing some healthy snacks or meal ideas for kids and also doing some casual chit chat telling how I make my kids eat healthy. But before starting a video, I want to put this disclaimer that I'm not a nutritionist or a health advisor. It's just a parent sharing her experiences with another parent. I hope you enjoy this video. One of the things that matters a lot is setting up their routine. I keep a considerable amount of time gap between their snack and their meal time. That way, they are more hungry during meal time and hence they will enjoy their meals more likely. I always have healthy snack options available for kids. That does not mean that I don't bring processed snacks. It's just when you have healthy snack options available, the portion size of the processed snacks gets limited.
It's so simple to make your own fruit yogurt, and you are avoiding all the mystery ingredients that you might find in store bought versions. And two reasons why you want to give it a try: first, you can make any flavor according to your kids' taste buds. Secondly, this recipe which I'm sharing is naturally sweetened and there are no added sugars. So for making flavored yogurt, here I'm taking a combination of mango and blueberries. I'm taking frozen mango which has been thawed out. You can always use fresh mango if you have, and I'm using fresh blueberries here. You can always use any combination of fruit or even one fruit also according to your liking. After this, I'm using 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt. If Greek yogurt is not available, you can always use hung curd. Just take care that it should not be that thick as hung curd is. It should be little thinner consistency. After this, I'm using some hemp seeds. You can always use anything, whatever you want to use in place of hemp seeds for sprinkling on top of your yogurt. So now I'm going to cover the fruit bowl with lid, and I'm going to microwave the fruit for around 2.5 minutes. You can also cook it on stove on medium heat until the sauce is thickened. Now the concept is making a basic fruit compote but without adding any sugar or lemon juice. You can of course add any spices if you want. So after microwaving my fruit, I left it on the counter for around 1 hour. Now it has been cooled completely. So now I'm going to put this fruit compote in blender and make it into a smooth puree. You can also leave little chunks of fruit at this time, that would give a burst of flavor. But we like our yogurt to be smooth and silky, so that's why I'm making a puree out of my fruit compote. So after the puree is done, I'm going to mix the puree into the yogurt. Just take care that at this point of time the puree should be completely cooled, and I always mix mangoes or ripened pineapples with whatever fruit flavor I'm making, because these fruits are naturally very sweet, so I don't need to add any extra sweetener. But definitely you can always skip these fruits and add a little bit of honey or sugar if you want to. So this is a wonderful option for breakfast, snack, or even for packing lunch. And it is super easy to make, tasty, full of healthy fats, protein, and probiotics, and kids can't say no to this. So after mixing the puree completely, I'm going to refrigerate it, and it's going to get thicker in consistency. Now let me show you how I like to serve this fruit flavored yogurt. So now just put some yogurt and add some chopped mangoes on top, and then sprinkle with hemp seeds, and there you go, a very healthy snack for kids is ready to enjoy.
The very first rule which we all know and we follow is to hide the veggies. Even my 10-year-old son tells me to hide something which he hates to eat. And I follow this rule not just for veggies but also for other stuff like quinoa or khichdi, which my son does not like to eat. And I have also noticed one thing, that chopping the veggies very finely or grating them also help a lot, The kids don't even realize that they are in the recipe. I use this trick for stuffed paranthas, sandwiches, pastas, veggie balls, burger patties. The list is endless. Another trick which has helped me a lot is serving the things which he doesn't like to eat with those which he loves to eat. For example, my son did not used to eat apples, so I served him apples in fruit raita with his favorite dish palak paneer, and now he is eating his apples without any complaint. Similarly, my daughter is giving me hard time drinking her milk, but pairing the milk with a small piece of homemade cookie really helps.
There are several versions of mac and cheese. Some use cream, others use butter and flour, but I make mac and cheese oil free, butter free, cream free, and flour free. My kids love to eat mac and cheese, so I created this recipe which is fast, super easy to make, and healthy, nutritious, and yummy to enjoy for kids. So for this mac and cheese, I'm taking 1.5 to 2 cups of chopped bottle gourd. My son hates to eat bottle gourd, so this is the best way to make him eat. After bottle gourd, I'm taking 1 cup of elbow pasta, and after pasta, I'm going to take half a cup to 3 by 4 cup of grated Vermont cheddar cheese, and you can use any kind of cheese which your kid likes in mac and cheese. My son loves to eat this cheese, and after that I'm going to take 1 cup of milk. So I'll start pressure cooking my bottle gourd with a few drops of water until it gets mushy, and also at this time I'll start boiling my pasta till it gets al dente. So now the bottle gourd has been cooked and I'm going to puree it. So now to prepare mac and cheese, I have taken a pan in which I have added boiled pasta, bottle gourd puree, and then added my milk, and now I'm going to cook this on medium high heat until the milk gets little bit thickened. So also take care that the pasta should be al dente, otherwise it will turn mushy when we'll cook it in a mixture of bottle gourd puree and milk. If you are new here, a warm welcome, and if you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you do subscribe to Homemaking 101 by pressing the red subscribe button, and also hit the bell icon so as to get the notifications of my latest videos. I upload new video every Wednesday, so don't forget to sign in back next Wednesday for another exciting video. So as you can see, the milk and the bottle gourd puree mixture has come to a boil. So at this point of time, I'm going to continuously stir this mac and cheese, and also just take care that this mac and cheese does not have any cream and butter. So it's best to make it when you are ready to serve it. So what I do is generally, prepare my pasta, prepare the bottle gourd puree, and then make it just before I want to serve it. So now the milk and the puree mixture has been thickened a lot. I'm going to switch off the gas and I'm going to add the cheese to it and just stir it so that the cheese melts. And at this point of time, you can add salt too if the cheese is not that salty. Also, depending upon your preference, you can keep the sauce more or less. If you want to keep a little bit more sauce, you can switch off the gas beforehand, and if you want less sauce, you can cook it for some more time. So now the cheese is fully melted and it's ready to serve. So the kids are enjoying their mac and cheese. I know the younger one is too young to guess that it has bottle gourd, but the older one was also not able to make it out. And along with mac and cheese, I am serving them beetroot chips. I have shared the whole video on how to make your own vegetable chips without using a single drop of oil. So I use that technique to make beetroot chips, and they both are loving it. I will give the link in the description box below, and if you haven't checked it out, do check it out. It's a really nice way to feed veggies to the kids.
I always give my son options but still limiting the boundaries. For example, I always tell him to choose his own cereals while grocery shopping, but the limit is that the amount of added sugar should be equal to or less than 5 grams. That way, he happily eats those cereals versus me bringing them for him. Similarly, in menu planning, I give him a lot of options with the same ingredient. For example, paneer. He loves to have it in paranthas and gravies, but he does not like it in dry sabzis. So, involving your kid in meal planning also helps a lot.
Let's make this nutritious combo dhokla with tons of goodness from ragi flour, chickpea flour, beetroot, and bell pepper. I did it in a bread mold and gave it a marbled effect which is so appealing to the eyes. So for this snack I'm using half a cup of besan or chickpea flour or gram flour, and after it I'll be using half a cup of ragi, which is millet flour. You know that it has a high protein and mineral content. Then after this I'm using 1 tablespoon of semolina, which is rava, and I was having coarse suji, so I'm using that. And so the next ingredient is half a cup of grated beetroot. So what I have done is that I grated the beetroot, then I pressure cook it, and after it I have measured half a cup and I'm using that. After this cooked beetroot, I'm using curd or yogurt, which is homemade. After yogurt, I'm using some grated ginger and also a clove of garlic. This is totally optional, you can skip it. And then after that I'm using Eno fruit salt. Then I'm using some hing powder, and after it I'm using roasted cumin powder to flavor the dish. Then I'm using obviously salt to taste. So all these ingredients I'm using for the first layer, and now for the second layer. So for the second layer I'm using all the ingredients, but in place of beetroot I'm using uncooked bell peppers here, and also I'm not using roasted cumin powder. So I'll start by sifting all the flours, that is the ragi flour, the besan and the semolina powder, and I will be doing this for both the layers simultaneously. So after sifting I'll just mix all the ingredients really well. So the next step is to add the cooked beetroot and that clove of garlic into the blender and adding a little bit of water and making a puree. So now I'm going to add salt, hing and curd into the dry ingredients, and also add the beetroot puree, add the other ingredients, that is the grated ginger and roasted cumin powder, and then making a batter out of it. So similarly I'll make puree out of bell pepper, clove of garlic and a little bit of water. This can be served as a snack or as a breakfast, or it's ideal for packing for lunch also. So like I prepared my first batter, I'll prepare the second batter. So now my second batter is almost prepared. At this point of time I'll keep the batters for some time, like 10 to 15 minutes, and in the meantime I'm greasing my mold. So I use this bread mold which I'll be using for this dish today, and I have greased it, and also have taken a big pan of water which I will be keeping on the stove for boiling. So now the water in the pan has started to boil, and I will add the fruit salt in the batters, and to make it a little bit liquidy I will be using a little bit of lemon juice here. You can also use water, and then I will just mix it and put it in the mold. So fruit salt has been thoroughly mixed into the batters, and I won't waste a minute here and then start pouring my batters into the mold. You can also involve your kids in this process, whatever design they want to make. It's a fun activity for kids to do. So I'm done pouring my batter into the mold, and now I'm going to put it in the pot in which the water was boiling, and I'll let it cook covered. So my dhokla is out and it took 28 minutes to steam it. Now I allowed it to cool down for few minutes and run the knife around the edges to loosen up the dhokla. Now I'm going to flip it over onto a plate. And look how beautiful is the marble effect from beetroot and bell pepper. And now I will let it cool completely and then I will slice it. So the dhokla has cooled completely and now I'll just slice it. So the slices are done and look at the beautiful color from both the veggies. We like to eat it like a savory bread also. Let's start with the tempering. For this I'll be using mustard seeds and some curry leaves. So after it I will be using some fresh grated coconut, and after coconut I will be using white sesame seeds. I will be using some jaggery powder, so you can use sugar if you don't have jaggery powder, and I'm using here juice from half a lemon. I will also be using 1 cup of water and some oil for tempering. So for tempering, I'll heat a pan with oil and then add mustard seeds and curry leaves. And when the mustard seeds will splatter, then I will add white sesame seeds. And at this point of time, keep your flame low. Then after it, I'll be adding coconut and then just saute for like 15 seconds. And after it, I will be adding lemon juice, water and sugar. So I will stir and let the water boil. After it comes to boil, I'll switch off the gas and now I will pour this tempering over the dhokla. Generally you slice the dhokla after you put tempering on, but I just like to slice it beforehand as kids love to eat the slices without tempering also.
Another trick which has worked wonders is to give his favorite recipes a makeover. That is, replacing the not so good ingredients with some healthy ingredients. For example, he loves to have pizza, so replacing that all-purpose flour pizza crust with whole wheat flour crust or sometimes gluten-free crust really helps. My kids love to have cakes and cookies, so I always bake them at home from scratch using some healthy ingredients and also limiting the quantity of sugar. And the very last thing, which is very important in my case, is to never tell them that it's healthy to eat. I always tell my son what were the ingredients after he finishes his meal. If I tell him beforehand, even though it tastes good, he is reluctant to eat.
These gluten-free healthy pizza bites are for sure a treat for little ones. By adding finely diced veggies, it's an easy way to get some vegetables into the meal that the kids may otherwise be reluctant to eat. So for these pizza bites, I have soaked yellow moong dal and red masar dal, that is lentils, in water for around 2 hours. So after lentils, I will be using some baking powder. After baking powder, I will be using water for making paste or batter from lentils. Then the spices, for these I'm using garlic powder, and this is totally optional. I always flavor my pizza base with Italian seasoning and garlic powder, so I'm using these two seasonings here also, but it's totally optional. You can totally skip it. If you don't have Italian seasoning, you can use some dried oregano also. And last but not least, I'm using salt to taste. So now I have rinsed and drained my lentils, and then I will transfer these drained lentils to my blender jar. Now after it, I will be adding the water and then blending it. So now I will take out the pureed lentils into the bowl and then add all the seasonings, that is garlic powder, Italian seasoning and salt, and also add the baking powder. So I will mix everything thoroughly and then preheat my oven at 425 Fahrenheit. So I'll start greasing my muffin tin. You can also use cooking spray or line it with parchment paper. So now I'm going to pour the batter out into the muffin tin, and The thickness is around 1 by 8 of inch to 1 by 4th of an inch. So the muffin tin goes in the preheated oven for about 15 to 18 minutes. So in the meantime, the base of the pizza bites is baking. I grated some cheese and also chopped some veggies very finely, and I'm using here some onions, asparagus and red bell pepper. So I have taken out the muffin tin from the oven after 15 minutes, and now I will run the knife around the edges to remove the base. I have also baked one batch in the silicone cups if you want to keep this recipe totally oil free. Now I will start putting the pizza base onto the baking sheet lined with tin foil. So now comes the assembling of the pizzas. So I'm going to add some cheese, and on top of it I'm going to add veggies. My son wanted to have these pizzas without any pizza sauce, but definitely if you are making a traditional pizza, go for pizza sauce and then all your toppings however you want them to be. So the mini pizzas are ready to go in the oven for 7 to 8 minutes or until the cheese is melted. So I've taken the mini pizza bites out of the oven after 8 minutes and they are ready to enjoy. These mini pizza bites are gluten-free, low in calories and carbs, high in fiber and protein, and tasty. So if you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go, and don't forget to come back next Wednesday. Till then, have a nice day.